All right. So this is Brian's list of people you may have heard of who don't have kids. And the only reason I'm making this is because I put it on the most popular thing I just about ever put on my website 8 years ago or something. People hit on it by the scads every day. So I thought it was time for perhaps a video interpretation of the famous people who don't have kids. Jesus Christ. Isaac Newton, Plato, Mary Magdalene, Mother Teresa, Florence Nightingale, Joan of Arc, Lawrence of Arabia, Edward the Confessor, Betsy Ross, Rosa Parks, Bert Parks, Susan B. Anthony, Arthur C. Clarke, Ralph J. Gleason, the Dalai Lama, the Pope, the Babe, Howard Hughes, Amelia Earhart, both the Wright brothers, Oliver Wendell Holmes, John Cleland Holmes, George Bernard Shaw, Beethoven, Tchaikovsky, Vivaldi, T.S. Eliot, W.H. Auden, H.L. Mencken, George Gershwin, George Balanchine, George Washington, Louis Armstrong, Lionel Hampton, Lillian Hellman, Helen Keller, Helen Thomas, Helen Mirren, Billie Holiday, Betty LaVette, Betty Page, Leonardo, Michelangelo, Vincent, Salvador Dali, David Hockney, Jackson Pollock, Lee Krasner, his wife, Mary Cassatt, Frida Kahlo, Dostoevsky, Chekhov, Thoreau, Spinoza, Virgil, Keats, Poe, Pound, Proust, Rimbaud, Whitman, Tennessee Williams, Washington Irving, Mississippi John Hurt, Robert Louis Stevenson, Alexander Pope, Thomas Hardy, Henry James, Henry Miller, D.H. Lawrence, E.M. Forster, J.M. Barrie, Lewis Carroll, never had kids, Noel Coward, Edward Albee, Virginia Woolf, nobody's afraid of, George Eliot, Isaac Dinesen, Jane Austen, Willa Cather, Margaret Mitchell, Edna St. Vincent Millay, Alice B. Toklas, Joyce Carol Oates, Catherine Ann Porter, Catherine Mansfield, Flannery O'Connor, Emily Dickinson, Emily Bronte, Edith Wharton, Eudora Welty, Harper Lee, Amy Tan, Anais Nin, Dorothy Parker, Raymond Chandler, James Baldwin, Joseph Campbell, Carlos Castaneda, Gore Vidal, Jean Genet, Lester Bangs, the great rock and roll writer, Seymour Hersh, Allen Ginsberg, Henry Crew, Jack Kerouac's good friend, Ralph Nader, too busy, Jerry Brown, very busy, Andy Warhol, Keith Haring, Merce Cunningham, Ahmet Ertegun, Brian Epstein of the Beatles, Sandy Koufax, Dr. Kellogg, Dr. Seuss, never had kids, George Peabody, Amy Clampett, Son House, Nikola Tesla, Edwin Hubble, Václav Havel, Joseph Haydn, Hannibal, Robespierre, Baudelaire, Raffi, Lenin, Locke, Kant, Oprah, Odetta, Queen Latifah, Queen Elizabeth I, Eva Peron, Ma Rainey, Harriet Tubman, soon to be on the 20, Nina Totenberg, the great journalist, Diane Sawyer, another great journalist, Diane Fossey, Annie Oakley, Angela Davis, Molly Ivins, Edith Head, Hitchcock and others, costume designers. Emma Goldman, Gertrude Stein, Gloria Steinem, Georgia O'Keeffe, Alberta Hunter, Candace Bushnell, Camille Paglia, Fran Lebowitz, glad she's still with us, Simone de Beauvoir, Helen Gurley Brown, Edie Kerouac, Jack's first wife, Joanne Kiger, the great beat poet, Julia Child, Rachel Ray, Suze Orman, Tyra Banks, Monica Seles, Billie Jean King, Martina Navratilova, Florence Griffith Joyner, Jackie Joyner Keeney, Kersey, Big Mama Thornton, Big Joe Turner, Blind Lemon Jefferson, Liza Minnelli, Ginger Rogers, you know, she could do everything but backwards and in heels. Imogene Coco, Coco Chanel, Max Sennett, Billy Wilder, Victor Mature, Burgess Meredith, Montgomery Clift, Peter Ustinov, Hal Ashby, Jim Neighbors, Rock Hudson, River Phoenix, James Dean or Sal Mineo, neither. Patrick Swayze, Mickey Rourke, Christopher Walken have all said they have no intention and they're getting in them later years, including Harry Dean Stanton, or the late great Katharine Hepburn, also very busy, Greta Garbo, Jean Harlow, Mae West, Carole Lombard, Paulette Goddard, Claudette Colbert, Tallulah Bankhead, most actresses with weird names. Lillian Gish, Marilyn Monroe, Anne Margaret, no kids, who'd have thunk, Ava Gardner, Linda Evans, Lauren Hutton, Jacqueline Bisset, Stephanie Powers, Morgan Fairchild, Cameron Diaz, Carmen Electra, Samantha Fox, Bo Derek, Ashley Judd, Jane Lynch, Kim Cattrall, Eva Longoria, Marissa Tomei, Portia de Rossi, Renee Zellweger, Laura Flynn Boyle, Jennifer Aniston, Winona Ryder, Fran Drescher, Frances Farmer, there's a good one, Daryl Hannah, Shelley Duvall, Valerie Perrine, Brenda Vaccaro, Stockard Channing, Shirley Booth, Julie Christie, Betty White, Bonnie Hunt, Kathy Bates, Linda Blair, Carol Kane, Madeline Kahn, Marlo Thomas, Ellen Burstyn, Cicely Tyson, Swoosie Kurtz, love her, Christy McNichol, Allison Janney, Marsha Mason, Angelica Houston, none of them. And then say like Dick Cavett, Oliver Hardy, Buck Henry, Bill Hicks, late great, Bill Maher, Jay Leno, Mitch Hedberg, another late great, wish he was still here, Ricky Gervais, no kids, Gary Shandling, another recent late great, sorry miss you Gary, Graham Chapman, Monty Python, Michael O'Donoghue, SNL, speaking of SNL, Gilda Radner, never had children, Rita Rudner, Brett Butler, Lily Tomlin, Kathy Griffin, Jan Hooks, Nora Dunn, Sherry O'Terry, a bunch more SNLers, Chelsea Handler, Janine Garofalo, love her, Ellen DeGeneres, Elaine Boozler, love that name, Liz Winstead helped form The Daily Show with Jon Stewart, Megan Mullally, Margaret Cho, Susie Essman, see also Curb Your Enthusiasm, Sarah Silverman, see everywhere, including the Bernie campaign trail, and Barack's back then, Sid Barrett, Sid Vicious, Jimi Hendrix, Nona Hendrix, Johnny Winter, Edgar Winter, Bill Monroe, the father of bluegrass music, Guy Lombardo, the father of New Year's Eve music, Aaron Copland, Cole Porter, Charlie Patton, Eddie Cochran, Little Richard, Sonny Rollins, Charles Mingus, King Curtis, Sidney Bechet, Billy Strayhorn, Stephen Grappelli, Luther Vandross, Johnny Mathis, Freddie Mercury, Nick Drake, Dobie Gray, Tim Hardin, Woodstock fame, Garth Hudson from the band No Kids, Graham Parsons, Mike Bloomfield, Rory Gallagher, Lou Reed, Jimmy Reed, Jim Croce, Jim Morrison, J.J. Cale, John Cage, Jeff Buckley, Joey Ramone, and come to think of it, to Johnny Ramone, Dee Dee Ramone, and Tommy Ramone. None of them. Robert Hunter, lyricist for the Grateful Dead. Would end the whole thing right there. Vince Welnick, their last keyboard player. Pigpen, their first keyboard player. No Kids. Stevie Ray Vaughan, Sonny Boy Williamson, Long John Baldry, Dave Van Ronk, Nash the Slash, Tupac Shakur, Billy Preston, the great Burton Cummings from Winnipeg, man. Nicky Hopkins, Noel Redding, Ella Greenwich, not Ella, that's Fitzgerald, Bessie Smith, Bonnie Raitt, Mavis Staples, Marcia Ball, New Orleans Jazz and Blues, Tracy Chapman, Janet Jackson, Laurie Anderson, Karen Carpenter, Mary Chapin Carpenter, Gloria Gaynor, never had kids, Amy Winehouse, Dusty Springfield, Dolly Parton, Debbie Harry, never had kids, Fiona Apple, Nancy Griffith, Stevie Nicks, and Christine McVie, neither of them, Joan Armatrading, Joan Jett, Janice Ian, Fergie, Selena, and Janice. All did what they did without having kids. And so there's some of that. Like I say, most popular piece on BrianHassett.com for about 8 years. And just so you know, obviously, if you ever sired or birthed a kid, you're not on the list. If you ever adopted a child, you're not on the list. If someone died as a teenager too young to have actually lived the possibility, say like a Richie Valens or an Anne Frank or something, I don't put them on there. If somebody died childless but was in the process of having a child, like Buddy Holly's wife was pregnant when his plane went down, so he was having a kid. Charlotte Bronte died while pregnant with her first, so she was having a kid, so I don't put those people on there. But if somebody never birthed or sired or adopted, but married somebody who had kids, and then never had kids themselves or adopted or anything after that, they just married somebody who had kids, they should be on there. Like George Washington, never had kids, never adopted, nothing. And Marlo Thomas, much as I love her, she didn't actually have kids or adopt after she married, I guess it was Phil. So, they're on there. And otherwise, pretty much you got to be dead or old enough that you haven't had kids and have stated publicly that you intend not to, or else everybody in the world would be on this. So that's the only few exceptions for the living, is where both those things are true. So hope this has been some help and enjoyment to the viewers out there, and we'll see you next video at BrianHassett.com. Peace, love, and Woodstock.